We are live. Hello. I see everybody popping in from Resort TV 1, it looks like. Thank you guys so much. Do you guys know who this is? You know me. I know you know me, but you really know him, or at least you know his channel, Matt Roseboom from Attraction Magazine. I'm just going to read what you sent or they sent, okay? And then we'll talk about you. Matt is the owner, editor, and publisher of Attractions Magazine. He started the magazine in 2007 after starting and selling community papers in Marco Island and Naples, Florida. Before that, he worked for the New York Times Company. That's cool. He now runs Attractions Magazine with his wife, Jackie, and son Quinn from their home in Orlando. Attractions Magazine is offered in print and online and covers theme parks and attractions worldwide with a large website, YouTube, and social media presence. Well, before the show started, I was saying to you that I found you through your YouTube channel. Before I had a YouTube channel, I knew of 3 or 4 Disney channels, and you were certainly certainly one of the very first I ever watched. And I guess in the bio it says it. You started in 07. I'm going to say hello to chat, but before we do that, let's start with you. What you want to say hi to everybody? And
yeah,
I'll just let you introduce yourself. Anything I missed out on that, and then we'll say hi to chat, and then we'll dive into questions.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Glad to be on the show and able to answer any questions you have. So yeah, we started our YouTube channel. We started our magazine actually first, and of course you had to have a website with it. And then we might as well have a YouTube channel since we're covering all these cool events that are very visual. So that's how we got started with it, and it just kind of took off.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, what are we at? Almost 700,000. Let me say that number more successfully. 700,000, on the way to 700,000. I'm high-fiving myself when I get a round number. 700,000 is mind-blowing. And obviously you started the magazine, well, right about when YouTube started. I don't know when YouTube started, but obviously you just said 07 for the magazine. Good timing and good content, and I'm glad you spread it. I mean, print is awesome. Your Instagram, I haven't even mentioned yet, is awesome. Your YouTube is awesome. What do you think of yourself first? Are you a website? Are you a magazine? And then I'll say hi to everybody in chat.
Well, we try to think of ourselves, I guess, as a magazine, because that kind of sets us apart from some of the other Disney or theme park websites and blogs. But we try to be all encompassing. So whether it's, no matter where you look at, we try to be there a little bit.
Smart. I love it. I love it, Matt. All right, let me say hi to people in chat. We got a bunch of people in here. Again, everybody from Resort TV 1, I appreciate you being here. Can you tell I just had coffee? I feel like I'm talking faster than I even normally do. Michael, welcome in. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Always one of the first guys in here. Orlando guy is in here. Christine's in here. Epcot 2187's in here. Stacy Rogers, hello. It's Joey's World, hello. Who else? Isaac Neal, Titus Millman in the house. Tina McNeil, Isaac. Who else did I see? I don't know how to say that. Kassan, maybe? Welcome in. It's Joey's World. Hey, Joey, how are you, my friend? Magic of the Mouse TV, my sponsor. Get over to his YouTube channel and podcast. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Kevin Brubaker in the house. It's moving fast, guys, and I appreciate this because a lot of you are here, and it makes me happy. Sandy Norris is in the house. Tim Pruitt's in the house. Disney Everett's in the house. My co-host of my other show tonight, the Lynn Project's in the house. Samantha's in the house. Dawn's in the house. I'm sure I miss people, but I don't want to do that all night. So if I missed you, please don't take it personally. Love that you're here. But let's talk to Matt. So hello,
everybody.
Your show, well, your YouTube channel is kind of a lot of different things. So this is mostly a Disney channel for me. Well, that's not totally true. It's morphed into a Disney channel. Hey, Dean, I see you, buddy. How are you? Hey, Brady, how are you? Did you start with Disney? Was it a love for Disney? Was it just a love for theme parks? Let's talk about you and what made you. I mean, you went from the New York Times to Attractions. That's one's very serious and one's the vast opposite.
Yeah,
I love that.
No.
To hear that story.
In the newspaper business, when I worked owned a couple. Before I owned a couple of newspapers, I worked at a couple down in Southwest Florida, and they were owned by the New York Times Company.
Very cool.
And did some training up in New York and whatnot. But we there and when I own my own paper, we cover things like city council meetings. Boring, not fun. Small town things like that, and we always because we lived a few hours away in South Florida, always came up to the Orlando to visit the theme parks. We loved Universal, we loved Disney, we loved going to SeaWorld, wherever, and so we just I had a chance to sell those newspapers.
Nice.
I did. had a non-compete, so I couldn't start another newspaper there. So
sure.
I'm like, why don't we move to Orlando?
What do I
We
do
love it
for
up
this,
there.
however long your non-compete is? What do we do for this time, right?
Yeah. So we're like, well, non-compete only applies in South Florida. Let's go to Orlando and
Nice.
and instead of writing about city council meetings, let's write about something fun.
As someone who's been to both Disney parks and city council meetings, both a ton, you're winning, buddy. You're winning. I run a nonprofit in my, real world, whatever, and I've been in my fair share of snooze fest city council meetings. And if anybody's in the chat who's a city council person, I'm talking to you. And that's all right. I think you're winning. I love it. So when this is going to be about you. I want to talk about you, but when I was younger, I thought I wanted to write. I am a writer. I love writing. I was a writer. I loved writing. It's probably more honest. And I wrote for 2 small local newspapers, both covering high school sports and little local stuff and a little bit of the Padres, mostly high school stuff out in San Diego. And so I've loved local newspaper. Well, I mean, it's not even a thing hardly anymore. I used to love local newspaper. I don't know if it's a successful thing anymore, but it sounds to me like you moved at the right time. And I'm talking about, again, YouTube. I mean, I don't know where you get where you put your most content first or all that, but YouTube alone, 700, there's very few content creators who are approaching 1 million. That's something to be, honored. That's amazing. And a magazine and the Instagram. I love it. I already asked you what you think where you put your stuff. You put it all over the place. Was that just a marketing position? Is that why you did it that way, or do you just like them all? I'd love to hear about that.
When we started the YouTube, we didn't expect it to take off. We did it because, remember one of the first events we covered was a opening of Toy Story Midway Mania at Hollywood Studios. And it was such a big spectacle with all the characters coming out and dancing and songs. Like, we got to record this. We got to put this somewhere. And YouTube had been around for a while, but it wasn't, as huge as it is today. So we put it up there, and that took off, and we started putting some other things up there. And it's like, what we cover is visual for the magazine, but it's also, some things you can't see in a photo. You need to see the video of it. So
true. Well, that's why YouTube works so well, and especially in our niche. I mean, hearing Mickey, seeing Mickey, as soon as we get smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision. But I love it. I said it at the very beginning, and I'll say it again. I've loved your channel since before I even knew what YouTube was. There wasn't a Disney YouTube community, and you were one of the first. I don't know the first Disney channel I ever saw, but it might have been yours. It probably was. And to have you on tonight, I'm really, really excited about it. What made you do the magazine? I know the answer is because you were in writing and publishing and all that, but what made you go, well, I'd love to hear the origin story if you don't mind amplifying on that, because I'm fascinated. Hey,
you mentioned one of the first, and before I moved up here, one of the first podcasts that covered Disney I listened to was called Inside the Magic. The company's still around. But the guy that used to own it, I contacted him. I said, hey, I'm moving up. I love your podcast. I'd like to do some kind of publication. Do you want to get together and talk about the possibility of us teaming up? And his name was Ricky Briganti, and I teamed up with him, and we started the magazine together. We talked about, should we do it a newspaper, since that's what I know about? And he's like, no, we thought, it's more visual. We need color photos, not black and white photos. So we came up with the idea of a magazine, and we were partners, 50-50 partners for the first year. And we quickly figured out that, that it's not really, startup business. It was hard for both of us to make it our full-time business. So he still had Inside the Magic podcast, which he later turned into a website. And I bought out Attractions, and I took over that. So we kind of went from partners to a little bit of competitors for many years. And then now he's since then sold Inside the Magic and lives up north somewhere doing other things. But I kept Attractions going, and we kept expanding the website. Social media really came along and took off after that, and the rest is history.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm going to drop the link to the magazine, the website right now. There it is. And Mods, I see what you're doing there. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, so let's go right now. Before I dive into some more questions about Disney and the theme parks and stuff, where's the best place to enter to find you? I've just put the website URL, but is that the best place for them to get to know what you're doing, or is it the YouTube channel, or
yeah, I mean, most places we're Attractions Magazine. If you put that in on Twitter, well, actually, Twitter is the only one we're a little different. We're just Attractions, at Attractions on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
But the website is Attractions Magazine. Instagram's Attractions Magazine. YouTube.com/Attractions Magazine. Basically, you'll find us that way, and everything we do. Our magazine itself, we have had it in for sale at the bookstores across the country. Back when there used to be a Borders bookstore and then a bunch more Barnes and Nobles. We since have done away with that, and it's just subscription only. So if you want to check out the magazine, you can buy a single issue or subscribe to our website at attractionsmagazine.com.
And I highly suggest you guys do that. And I don't know if you're following chat. I'm trying to follow chat a little bit. So moving fast. Guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody. But a lot of people are saying how much they love what you're doing. So you're not just Disney, you're theme parks, right? Is that the best way to define you? You cover theme parks?
Yeah, I'd say we focus on theme parks, but we really cover any kind of attraction. With the website, magazine, we try to keep it just about theme parks, mostly for the magazine, just because there's limited pages. But of course, the website and YouTube is unlimited, so we'll cover attractions like Ripley's Believe It or Not, smaller attractions. We'll cover even like pop-up events and things like that, some MegaCon and Comic-Con, that side of thing as well.
Very cool. Very cool. And so I want to ask about, even before you had the magazine, before you had the business, what made you love theme parks? What made you love Disney? Wherever it started, where did it start and how? And all.
Yeah, I mean, I went when I was a kid. I have embarrassing, funny story. When I was a little kid, I don't know how old I was. My grandma took me to Disney World, and she wanted to ride Dumbo, and I'm like, "Oh, that's too high up. I'm afraid I don't want to go that high."
It was pretty high.
But so went then. I grew up actually in Ohio, so we went to Kings Island, Cedar Point.
Okay. Yeah.
So I loved that, and loved, of course, watching Disney movies and all that. So, and then, like I said, when I moved to Florida and had the business in Marco Island, Naples, it was just a 3-hour drive to Orlando, and we'd come up for the weekend, and it'd be like Sunday night, and it's like, okay, time to drive back. And it's like, no, I don't want to drive back. I want to stay here.
Right. I grew up in Southern California. My grandfather actually worked in Disney early on, and so we've been a Disney family our whole life. And now I live in Texas. So kind of the opposite. You went from the middle to a park, and I went from one of the parks to the middle. I think you're winning on that one. And you've got you're very heavily involved in cruising, yes?
Yeah, we cover cruises, of course, Disney cruises, but we're also covering other cruises. We actually had a cruise website for a while. It's kind of put it to the side while we concentrate on attractions, but hopefully it'll come back at some day. But we do cover cruising because cruises are attraction. We just last week got off a cruise, a Norwegian cruise line. It had a go-kart track on the top of the ship. I mean,
that on the commercials. What the heck? That's amazing.
They're an attraction in of themselves. They're becoming theme parks at sea.
That's amazing. I've got a bunch of friends, mostly from this community, that are really into cruising, and I've not done it yet, but there's definitely a marriage there. The Disney attraction or theme park people and the cruise people seem to be one and the same more often than not lately. So it really fits. And you worked for Disney. You were a photographer, yes?
Yep, worked for Disney a little while when we moved up here. I was just starting attractions and had a little bit extra free time. Like, you always want to know, what's that experience actually work in the parks like?
I do. I want to know, and that would be the perfect gig. I work with kids. I run an after-school program, and I'm not like Mr. Emotional, but if I'm in the parks and I see some little kid and he or she's being cute, and I've got 4 daughters now, but they're a little older, and I've always wanted to hear the stories the photographers have. Well, you were one for a while, so I always find myself, driving them crazy with questions because they're the ones I want to talk to. Is it as great of a job as it looks, or is it something else turns into a job?
It is and it isn't. I did it part-time, so I did it like 2 or 3 days a week. And you had to, at the time, our shifts were 3 hours at a time. So if you were in the summer standing in the middle of Sunset Boulevard for 3 hours, sometimes it wasn't so great.
I can see that. Yeah.
But it's fun taking everybody's photo and talking to people and everything like that. But I don't know how some of them do it. I worked with some people who were full time there, so they'd be out there every day, and they're still out there. A couple of them recognize. I'm like, I worked with you how many years ago? 10 years ago.
That's awesome.
Well,
We got to stay at the Poly a couple months back, and it's the first time I got to stay at the Poly, and there was a photographer there for every, I don't know, like 3 of our 4 days or whatever. And so I talked to him the last day, and I said, do they move you around or whatever? And he said, you know what? I get to be here every day at the Poly, and he's been doing it for, I don't remember how many years, but it was a long time. And he loved it. He loved it. That's what I was thinking when I was asking you. That would be a good gig.
Yeah, it would. And I think as longer you're out of position, you can, have a little bit more say about where you get put and what you get to do. And, standing in the street in the heat was the worst part of it. But
that's what made me think of him when you said that, because I was thinking when you said that, I thought, well, he was in like air conditioning and snow and everything and all that. And that's why it popped in my head there. And
sometimes you get to take pictures of the characters, like Woody and Buzz used to be down on Pixar Place, and you'd be in the air conditioning. So that was a lot of fun.
That's very cool. Hey, Eddie. Hey, Viapre. Hey, Lasercat. I see you guys. Again, everybody in chat, I appreciate you being here. I'm not saying hi as much as because it's moving so fast. Hey, Dean. But I want to give Matt our attention. So you started, I think you said 07, 06, 07, whatever. I'm guessing that means, like I have, but with you covering it every day, it's got to be more intense. You've seen so many changes. And I'm just thinking at Disney. Then you take Universal and all the other things. I mean, what are some of the changes that you've seen that have surprised you? What are the things that you got to cover that you're most exciting? Anything. I'd love to talk about that, and then the changes you've seen in, well, a decade and a half, I guess, right?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, people, sometimes they'll ask me what was the best thing you covered. And I mean, it's hard to pick one thing. Everything. I mean, things that stand out is not Disney, but like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opening. With all the movie stars there, that was really cool.
I bet.
And the Toy Story thing was cool just because it was one of the first things I got to cover. Going out to Disneyland, covering the opening of Cars Land, that was pretty cool. It's all really fun.
Yeah. What's the biggest surprise you've seen? Again, in 15 years, I mean.
Oh, and changes.
Harry Potter wasn't there yet, right? Certainly, Avatar Land, Pandora wasn't there yet. I mean. Galaxy's Edge is brand new. Not even a year old.
I mean, the constant is change. It's always changing.
Yeah. It's got a classic quote about that, right?
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, like you say, Harry Potter really changed things for both parks, for Universal and Disney. The level of detail that they put into that. Is what you're seeing the result of Disney, putting into Galaxy's Edge now.
Yep.
So that was really a game changer as far as theme parks go, and I think Fast Pass has been around before we even started, but the Fast Pass Plus and the mobile phones, and that's really changed things as well.
Unless, of course, you live in Southern California.
Oh.
They're still moving along. Right?
Where you got Max Pass?
Yeah, that's true. It's just different. I feel like. So I grew up, that's my home park. I lived in Southern California, and then I moved out here, and it's like, I love the nostalgia of keeping it the same. Part of me loves that. But part of me, they would, get out of the 80s too. It's, I love Disneyland. I do. But people get mad at me. That's why I'm kind of being careful here, because I'm supposed to love Disneyland more. And because I'm from there. No, Disney World and the Orlando area just has so much to do. And I think that's a good segue for, my goodness, what a target-rich environment you live in. Attractions Magazine Orlando. I mean, SeaWorld and obviously all the Disney parks and Universal.
Now we got Legoland, we got Busch Gardens, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What are some of the hidden nuggets that people like me who just do Disney miss out on that you would promote or suggest, or whatever the right way to say it?
I mean, all the major parks, of course, they're not really hidden. I'm trying to think of some smaller things out in Disneyland. I mean, something that I think a lot of people overlook is Knott's Berry Farm. That's just a wonderful, quiet park.
Growing up, yes.
Yeah. And it's Dollywood is great. As far as in the Orlando area, I mean, there's I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything really that's like a hidden thing, but there's definitely enough to do besides the theme parks to keep you busy for a week or more.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah.
So as I've been getting more into this community, the Disney, but we'll call it the theme park community, I don't know, over the past couple of years, every month or so, I get a new new YouTube friend, let's call it that way, moving down to Orlando. And the question always becomes, do you think or after they get there, has it ruined the magic for you?
Mm.
You've been doing it as a business, what, a decade and a half. Is it still a blast? How does it turn into, you're loving it. You move there because you love it, right? 18-year-old to, oh my gosh, I got to go to work and see Mickey or see Harry Potter or whatever. And how do you balance that? I'd love to hear that, because all of us goals, right? Goals to be full-time doing a Disney thing or a theme park thing. That would be so fun. But, I bet there's.
Yeah, I mean, when I started working in PhotoPass, that was one of the things I heard. Oh, you don't want to work there because that'll ruin it for you. And it didn't ruin it for me. I still love going. It's of course different going as a guest than actually working. And as far as doing this job, the changes that we just talked about, keep it new. I mean, there's always something. I'm going, okay, we're just going to go to the park tonight for fun. We're not going to work, but you end up tweeting about something new you saw, or oh my gosh, they added this, or this new cupcakes out and looks really good. Let me show our readers what that looks like.
It's funny you say that. So I'll do so there was a fire at Disneyland the other day, and so I send myself notes, while I'm at work. It pops up on my phone, and when I get home, if I have time, I do a video or not. I thought about doing one of those, and there gets to a point, and I don't know where it comes from, that I'm like, yeah, that's too old, people are going to already know about it, I'm not going to bother with a video. But then a week and a half later, somebody's talking about it, and everybody's like, oh, I never even heard about it. And I bet you, I feel like I'm an expert in my world, right? Where people at my work, stuff like that. But you're there all the time, and you're working with people all the time that are getting the news quickly. Do you get it before we get it? How do you disseminate it? When do you decide it's a story versus the whole world knows about it? I love to hear the mechanics to that.
Yeah, like you said, sometimes you'll think, oh, this is played out, everybody knows about this, but then we'll tweet it, and there'll be 50 people that will be like, oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me about that. It's like, oh. So I like to think that we have our own audience, as you have your own audience, and I know that there's other sites, and I know people look at other sites and hear moves every other place, but I feel like it's our duty to tell them as well, whether they already know it or not.
That's the right attitude to have.
Yeah, even if we're late, and we are late sometimes because we like to get the word from the source, and we like to write to Disney, our reps that we work with, and say, hey, is this true? We don't want to say it if it's not true. And
I was going to ask about that too. How do you handle?
We may be hours later with the news. We may be late with it as far as what other people pointed, but at least when you read it with us, we know, and you should know that it's true.
Yeah, I like that. My friend, the Orlando guy, asks, does the magazine utilize contributing writers to cover the breadth of the attractions? If so, how many contributors do you have?
Yeah, we do. We have myself, my wife work on it, my son, of course, and then we have 2 full-time employees. Banks kind of covers the videos for us, and Brittany does most of our stories and writing. But other than that, we need a lot of help. So we have a lot of freelance writers, freelance people to help. We do a show every week called The Attraction Show that kind of covers, the wrap up of the news of the week. So we have reporters that help us with that. So we have some volunteers, and we have some paid freelancers as well. I'd say all in all, we probably, between California and here and different places, we probably have, I don't know, 30 different people that we work with.
Oh, wow. Even more than I would have thought. But so I was going to ask that too. I mean, he asked it, so I went with it that way. But you're not just Disney World. You're not just Orlando. I think you mentioned Dollywood. What is that? Tennessee. I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
And so no way you could do it with you.
No.
Your kid.
So we try to have some, of course, that's the way we have some people in California, because in California and Florida are the main hubs of the theme park world. But we do have, a couple people that we might work with that could make it to Tennessee or could make it to New Jersey or wherever it happens to be. So we'll reach out to freelance writers or videographers or whatever we need. Just because, and we still can't cover it all. There's once in a while, something new will open in whatever city or state, and we just can't find somebody to cover it. So we'll cover it other ways by, talking to the PR people or whatnot.
It's just like sports, right? If you're doing a sports website, you can follow baseball and football, and the UFC and soccer, and I mean, where does it end? And then all this the big story, and maybe you don't cover the UFC, and then Conor McGregor becomes popular, and you have to. I'm thinking it's not unlike that, right? Because again, 15, 16 years ago when you started, it probably wasn't nearly as wide of a need for reporting. Is that the right way to say that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it has grown, and the overseas Disney parks have gotten a lot more popular over the years. I think with the advent of the social media and the internet, and people see some of the cool stuff that is happening over there, and a lot more people are apt to fly over to Paris and visit Disney or whatnot. So, but when we started out the magazine, we were Orlando Attractions magazine, so we just covered Orlando, and that was it. But we soon, like I said, got invited to come out and cover things at Disneyland, and it started spreading. And we're like, well, we just need to cover everything everywhere. It's impossible to do, but we do our best.
Yeah, I was going to say good luck to that. Hey, Dre, how are you? So I just dropped the link to their YouTube channel. Again, approaching 700,000. So you have something I want. Hey, Nathan, you have something I want really bad. You have one of my goals. I want mine, though. I don't want yours. But you have a YouTube play button, or your channel does. 100K, and don't they give you something else? Like, I'm a big goals guy, and I haven't even conceptualized the possibility of a goal of 1 million subscribers. Which I didn't look at Social Blade, but I'm guessing it's in your not so distant future, right? I mean,
it might take us a couple more years to get to 1 million.
What's that?
I say it might take us a couple more years to get to 1 million, but we'll see.
Well, I'm going to race you. I'm pretty sure you're going to win, but I'm going to race you anyway. But that's all.
At 100,000, we got a play button, and then you don't get anything else again until the million. So I'm waiting for that.
I thought so. And then 10 million, and then PewDiePie, right? So
I don't know.
That's amazing. Well, congrats.
Thanks.
I'm excited for you and jealous. Bye, just subscribe. Thank you guys. Yeah, if you haven't yet. So again, I dropped the link earlier to the website. I don't know why I can't say the word website today. It keeps leaving my brain. And their YouTube channel I just dropped, and I've seen the mods dropping it like crazy, and I appreciate that. So get over there, check out the website, check out the YouTube channel, subscribe, of course, and don't forget the Instagram. I probably see you the most now on Instagram because, it's easy to scroll during work and stuff. But if you're just getting here, I want to say it to Matt, but also to everybody in chat again. They're probably the first. I don't know this for a fact, but I think they're the first Disney YouTube channel I got to know. And that just might have been because, you were large early, but I've never stopped. I mean, it's not like I stopped watching, and you've had a regular, I don't know, is it a week? I don't even know what I'm talking about. You do a couple different things on your YouTube. Why don't I shut up and let you tell them what you do on your YouTube channel? You've got a show and you cover events.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of everything, and we've kind of changed focus over the years, different ways. We always cover events, always cover ride-throughs and that sort of thing for attractions. But then we, over the years, at one point we had a different show every day of the week. A different vlogger would do a show for us during the week. We kind of got away from that and kind of focused on the attraction show, which is every Thursday.
I believe it's weekly, but I don't know.
Yeah, every Thursday, the attraction show. And then every Wednesday night, we do something called, what we call Early Night Live, which is a live show from one of the theme parks. So about 30 to 60 minutes every week, we go live from one of the theme parks or one of the attractions or whatever, usually in Orlando, but sometimes California, sometimes wherever.
Very cool. Now, earlier I asked you about things you were surprised about or changes you've seen. There's a bunch of things coming. I'm thinking about two things specifically. I mean, the Star Wars and the Marvel editions. Well, some have come on Star Wars and some are still coming for Disney. And then Universal, I mean, what are they building? I don't know. They might be on the moon next month. I mean, I feel like they're expanding like crazy. And then even, I guess it's SeaWorld, right? Blowing up. And then we've got, the Nintendo thing coming. What are you most excited about? What do you think is going to, the public's going to like them the most? What do you know that you can share? Anything along those lines that you want to talk about?
Well, in Orlando, we got a whole new Universal theme park coming. The Epic park. So that's going to be really exciting when that happens. That's going to be, I'm trying to think. We covered Legoland when it opened, but that was kind of conversion from Cypress Gardens here in the area. Other than that, I don't think we've ever covered like a full-blown full theme park. I think Animal Kingdom opened, right before quite a bit before we came around.
It was like 20-year anniversary was, I think, last year.
Yeah. So that's going to be huge. But I think the part of that land is going to be the Super Nintendo World, and that's opening this year in Japan at Universal Studios Japan. But I think that when it opens here, it's going to be huge. I think that's going to be the next big thing besides Star Wars and Harry Potter. Of course, everything's exciting. We got Mickey's Runaway Railway opening in 2 or 3 weeks from now, and
finally Mickey gets a ride.
Yeah. And then, like you said, the Marvel, and you probably
coming. I mean, apparently Spider-Man's going to fly over my head.
That's going to be crazy. Probably not over your head. They probably won't let him go over top of people.
Yeah, I would think. I keep hearing that, and I don't know. Like, you see the headlines, some things you read, some things you don't. I haven't been reading about that, but people are freaking out about it.
He'll fly through the air, just maybe over a building instead of over our heads.
Tink hasn't landed on anybody yet, so I'm going to assume they're going to keep Spidey off me, but you never know. Magic the Mouse says, I love Cypress Gardens. Orlando Guy asked another great question. What is the most exciting development you saw at this year's Expo in Orlando? It's the IAAPA, which I don't know what it is.
IAAPA, yeah, we call it the IAAPA Expo. I'm trying to think. It wasn't really anything that was huge this year that I can think of. There's just kind of, we've been covering it for 10 years, and it's kind of usually it's kind of a hint to what's coming. So, a couple of years ago we went, and there was like 20 different places where they had ropes courses, and then all of a sudden you started seeing ropes courses popping up in different smaller attractions. And then this year and last year, or the year before, VR has been taking off, and different concepts with VR, different ways to do it.
Star Wars event in Disney Springs, our last trip, we didn't end up doing it, but people were raving about that.
Yeah, that's one of the better ones. So I couldn't put my finger on any one thing that was really groundbreaking this past Expo, but it's always fun to check it out. And we always do a segment on our show about it to show you around some of the coolest stuff. So you can check that out.
It does sound fun. And then what about Epcot? I love Resort Budgeting just asked. I love Epcot. I love World Showcase. Again, from Southern California, so I don't have the nostalgia of any of it, frankly.
Yeah.
And people are freaking out. I am excited. Tear it up. Give me more World Showcase. I'd be happy. But I'd love your thoughts on that. And then we're going to talk about our sponsor. We'll get to the second half here.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Epcot. I think it's due. It's needed it for a while. As we was talking about, things earlier changing, it's always sad to see things go. And you think about, I used to stand here with my son and we used to do this, and now, that's gone or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's sad, but they got to keep things moving. They can't always just expand. So I'm excited to see
the change, but if we didn't have it, no one would go. And I can show you that at all the boarded up theme parks throughout America.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Coney Island, nobody goes. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, good. So, hey, Shelly, how are you? So I'm going to talk about my sponsor real fast. Magic of the Mouse. Oh, did I hit the right button? There you go. There it is. There's the link to their Spotify version of their podcast. And I'm just going to read the ad right now. They're my buddies, Bill Senior, Bill Jr. Magic of the Mouse podcast, where each week your hosts, Bill Guerrero Sr. and Bill Guerrero Jr., bring you the latest Disney news. And they will be discussing everything Disney to get you ready for your next Disney vacation. New episodes drop every Wednesday morning on all the major podcast apps: Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, iHeartRadio, and Google. You can also connect with the Magic of the Mouse on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just do a search for Magic of the Mouse. Also, go check out the Magic of the Mouse TV channel on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, so you will be notified when they post and when they do a video from the parks, which they did quite a few of. Well, I guess been about a week. And 2 of their last 3 episodes, their guest was me, and I had a lot of fun. So I hope you guys go check them out there. Just give them some love and some support. They support me. So please go support them. Again, I dropped the link to their Spotify link, but you can get them everywhere on podcasts, and check out their YouTube channel too. So I'm going to use that as a segue for if we got people in here who want to advertise with you. I mean, magazines make money with advertising. I don't know your model at all, but anything you want to tell people, you probably have more than one person in chat who would be interested. If they wanted to know how they could get involved in that side of it, how would they get a hold of you for that?
Well, first off, I see a few people in the chat saying they subscribe to us, so thank you for that, and Andrea and a couple other people. But yeah, we of course we have ads on our website, we have ads in our magazine, we have commercials we can run on our show. So we have various ways you can advertise with. We have an email newsletter you can advertise on. So if anybody wants, they can send me an email, Matt, M-A-T-T, at attractionsmagazine.com. And I can send out a rate card and
love it.
Or the options with you. So
I preach it. I have a show on, well, this goes about an hour, so another 25 minutes. And then I take a little break. And then I have a show called Creator Talk. So I guess I should promote that right now. I've got somebody from TubeBuddy on tonight, Rob, who's a great guy, and we're really excited about that. But my point in saying that is I say in that show more than in these shows, support creators. Whether you're just clicking on the link and going, if you shop on Amazon, click on a creator's link. If you can go direct, if you're building, like I'm trying to build a channel, why not support people who are doing what you love? It's a win, 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 win. So if you're interested, reach out to them. Again, me and Matt are just getting to know each other. He didn't know I was going to say that, but support creators that you like.
Yeah, no, I agree. And an easy way to do it is don't click the skip commercial button.
Okay, so I'm going to tell a story. Wifey downstairs watching my video, and she's fat. I'm like, sweetie, what are you doing? So, well, it's 4 cents. I'm like, okay, that's true, but come on, what are you doing? So yeah, but when you get to the sponsorship level, when you're, again, I worked with newspapers a little bit. I run a nonprofit. I sell ads at our golf tournaments. I sell ads at our fill in the blank, all that stuff. And so a magazine obviously is going to survive on ad revenue. And so if you're a subscriber and you're trying to build something, reach out to Matt and yeah, just support creators. Okay, so let's get back to you and your love. You've been doing this for a while. It's part of your work life more than, for me, it's my recreation life and my hobby. But for you, it's those things and work. But I'm betting you still have favorites. Love to talk about your original favorites and your current favorite. And you mentioned movies. So let's start with movies first. Favorite movie as a kid? Oh, Viapree. Thank you. And that wasn't thank you. I'll just say thank you. Viapree, thank you so much for blessing us with that. I appreciate you. And I'm so glad you're back. And actually, I'm going to send you a note to get you on the show too. But anyway, thank you. But Matt, favorite old school Disney movie, current Disney movie, and then movie in general, because Universal's kind of, I'll shut up and listen.
Well, when the original Star Wars came out, it's a Disney movie now.
Right?
I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, and a friend asked me, "Hey, do you want to go see a movie?" I'm like, "Sure. What is it?" And they're like, "Star Wars." I'm like, "Star Wars? I don't know if I like outer space movies. I don't know if I like war movies." I'm like, "Okay, I'll go with you."
Wars, what are you doing?
But needless to say, it blew me away, and loved it ever since, and seen all of them, and can't believe we're walking into Galaxy's Edge now. But
yeah, I knew I liked you. I've said that to so many people. Anytime I'm doing a show or I'm on a show or whatever, and they say, "Oh, well, they could have fill in the blank on Disney for what they did in Star Wars," I shut your mouth. They built it for me. I get to walk in the Millennium Falcon. That's enough for me. Thank you very much. I was 7 in 1977. Yeah, y'all can do the math. I just turned 50 Christmas Day. It's fine with me if you know. And it is I don't even think it was a fantasy. Like, I don't think I was confident enough to think to make that a fantasy, to walk through some of the world of Star Wars, to be on the Millennium Falcon. I haven't even done rides yet.
You'll be blown away when you do that.
I'm blown away just that they built it. I don't know. I love that you said that. My favorite all-time movie is a 1977 classic, also named Star Wars. So that's awesome. What about current movies? Oh, first, Lynn, thank you. I put it up there so I wouldn't forget. Oh, geez, Lynn, thank you so much. Thanks for the show, Jeff, and always introducing us to new creators. Oh, thank you, Lynn. You know me well, and I appreciate that comment so much. This is what this show's about, getting people. I mean, I'm guessing most of you know his channel. It's kind of huge. But thank you for that, Lynn, and Andrea, Trey. Love what you do, Jeff. Matt, I'm so glad to have met and subscribed to you as well. See, that's amazing. If you just subscribed to him tonight, then I'm really stoked about that. But thanks for the super chat. It means a lot, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so current movies. There's been 2019 was an insane year for Star Wars in the movies. Insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to mess up the data, but it was unworldly. Favorite thing, Star Wars or Universal or any of the theme park. I mean, I guess Sony. I guess we should talk about any of the theme parky movies. What's been your favorite recently?
Well, I guess I'm boring. The ones that everybody else loved. I love Star Wars. I love the Marvel movies. I don't know. I couldn't even pick out a favorite. I just loved them all. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I've got 4 daughters, and again, I work with kids, and so Frozen. I mean, it wasn't even huge in my house and at my work. It was like all encompassing for about a year and a half. Like, I don't think I went more than an hour and a half without hearing "Let It Go" sung by some cute little kid. And so when Frozen 2 came out, I thought my head might explode with, well, they loved it. My family loved it.
Mm-hmm.
They liked it even better than me. I love the soundtrack. And that's a nice segue for Disney music. Do you love it? Where do you stand?
Of course, I'm partial to the theme park music rather than just the movie music. I watched Frozen. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite, but I guess I mean, like Carousel Project music, that sort of stuff. I'm not too much old school. Growing up, like I said, it came to Disney World, but I didn't really go to Epcot. I was, I think, 12 when Epcot opened, and I didn't really go there when I was a teenager, so I don't have any tie to the old Epcot music that they're now playing in the Epcot Forever fireworks. Of course, I know Figment and all that, but and I know the songs. I've heard them, just from being in this business and,
Sure.
and covering.
How could you not? Yeah.
But they don't have any nostalgia to me. So the more of the later attractions, the theme songs from those I love.
If you walk into my house, there's probably a decent chance that the Jungle Cruise Q line music will be playing in the background at least half the time. And it's funny you say that. I love Epcot. It's my favorite park, and for me, it's all about World Showcase. But when they were, whatever the show is that just went away, people were freaking out. I've only, I don't know, probably seen it 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, let's turn this. Let's upgrade this one. And people were flipping out about it going away. And it's the nostalgia factor, right? Like, for me, it's the Electric Light Parade.
Mm.
And I don't know, what's your favorite old school Disney thing that's not there anymore?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean, I more grew up with Spectro Magic Parade than over in this.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I don't even know what it is. It's
it's kind of sort of a different version of the Main Street Electrical Parade.
That's my jam. But, play that music and I'm smiling no matter what's going on in my life. I love it. And my wife's favorite is Pete from Pete's Dragon, and of course Pete at the back of that parade is awesome. So it is what it is.
I'm sure after the show I'll be like, oh, I should have thought of that. I forgot all about that. But
now this is probably one I bet you're not going to want to answer this, and that's okay if you don't. But do you have a favorite park? Now, normally,
that's fine. My favorite park is Epcot, and
what?
The reason is, like you said, World Showcase is just fun. Basically, because we'll go to the theme parks in the evenings. Used to be when my son was school age, when he got out of school, we would go in the evenings, and it's always cooler in the evenings, especially in the summertime. So we like to go to Epcot and just walk around the countries. We're not big on, we got to get fast passes, we got to ride this and ride that. We just enjoy walking around and getting a bite to eat and watching the people and see what's going on. Stop in for a show or two.
I got bad news for you. You sound a lot like me. I have a Saturday show with my wife, and we're going to be in Orlando, a week and a half or whatever. And so somebody on this yesterday, asked us what fast passes we got. And we're like, I didn't get anything. We're going for the Festival of the Arts and food and World Showcase. So yeah, I love the rides. It's just, but it's not just the rides for me. Like, if I didn't ride a ride, I would still love it. If I only rode rides, I would love it. But I'm going for World Showcase and the festival. I can't wait.
Yeah. That goes back to what we were saying earlier about just going and enjoying the parks and you don't have to. Well, it goes back to the part about living here. When you live here, you can enjoy doing that sort of thing even more because you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to go see this, it's new or whatever.
Yeah.
You
Well, that's a really good point. I mean, I don't have to rush because I've got my 3 kids and I might not be back for 10 years. So that's a really good point. Now, DVC, Moonlight Magic event. What else? I guess Villains After Dark. Well, the Halloween party, the Christmas party. What are your favorite? And I'm only thinking Disney. I may be unaware of. I know. Well, the Run Disney events. I know Universal now has Run. I guess it's called Run Universal. I think that's what it's called. What are some of your favorite events, either to cover or that you think people should know about that are kind of add-ons? I guess is where I'm going with that.
Well, I think probably your audience already knows about the Halloween parties, but would be my favorite out of all of them. Disney really has the market on after-hours events or special events, special ticketed events. I've done the Villains after hours and regular after hours, and the Villains is kind of some extra things thrown in. But you spend your time doing those things. And one of the benefits of after hours is it's not crowded. You can just enjoy the parks without, any crowds and just walk around and enjoy, all of that and walk right on to any attraction you want.
I actually think that's a really good way to say that. I've often thought that they're charging people another amount to lower the lines, really, and then they give you a free cookie and they have Cruella walk around or whatever. I love it. We again grew up in Southern California. We went to the Halloween event before it was really a big deal. We would go every year for like 4 or 5 years. My kids would dress up, and there was nobody there. Now, thing sells out, and Christmas party does too. It makes me think of Food and Wine. Food and Wine is pretty much January to December now and full every day, which is a good segue to what's your favorite festival. And it can be a non-Disney festival. That's okay too.
I really like the, I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite yet, but the arts festival that they just started at Epcot a few years ago.
I'm going next week or the week after next. So that's good for me.
But I have to say my favorite is probably Food and Wine, just because, like I said earlier, we just enjoy walking around the parks and having a bite to eat. So
I tell people all the time I was skinny before Food and Wine. I don't know if you can tell me. My abs are showing through my shirt, and they're not abs. But I like me some Food and Wine too. But I love the Christmas one, and I can't wait for the Festival Arts one, which again, I'll be there in a week and a half. I cannot wait. Mouse Talk wants me to ask you about a name on the screen. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
I'll just leave it there. I don't know. Walt is my friend. I'm guessing that's Walt. It might be Melissa. Because I trust him, I'm reading it.
Yeah, no, that's an old show host of ours.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So yeah, we're still friends with her. I don't know. She either works for Disney or she works for a third party that works at Disney, and she helps a lot of the TV productions there now. So
because you never know when it's a personal name like that.
Yeah,
I know Walt pretty well. I trust him, so I went with it. But I put it on the screen just because
we try to stay friends with as many people as we can. There's we're always running into people, and people move on, and that's fine. And a lot of our old show hosts have gone on to live in California and do lots of different things. So we're happy for them.
That's awesome. Well, an Orlando guy, and this is a good time, guys. We've got 12 more minutes, so in the next 10 minutes or so, I'd love for you to go ahead and submit your questions. Just at me. Hopefully, it'll show up. You might have to ask it 2 or 3 times. If I don't ask your question, it's not because I'm ignoring you. If I'm ignoring you, I'll hit the little button. You'll disappear, and you'll never know it. So I'm not ignoring you. I swear, but I can't see them all. But yeah, I'd love for you to ask Matt some questions. This would be the time, and we got 10 more minutes. So Orlando guy has had some great questions tonight, and here's another one. What story in your magazine's history generated the greatest response, both negative and positive?
Wow. These are tough questions. For a guy who has a bad memory, it's really
Oops.
I'm trying to think. Okay, best response. Wow. When talking just the magazine, just the print magazine, when the Wizarding World of Harry Potter first opened, we did a issue that pretty much was all about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and that one sold really well for
I bet it did.
I remember on the negative, and not really a negative, but we covered a story in the magazine. I think we devoted 4 or 6 pages to Stitch's Supersonic Celebration show, which lasted about a month.
Yeah.
So in the time that we, were able to put this story together and print it, it was
Oh, no.
gone by the time the magazine came out.
You changed the title from new to gone. That's funny. Well, I mean, that's the world. They're like, not unlike the analogy earlier about sports reporting. I mean, things are moving fast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when, like, I love the tiki room, and then they screwed it all up. I'll say I like change. Okay, I almost always like change, but when they kind of screwed it up with, I mean, what was it, Zazu, and I don't even remember.
Yeah,
but Stitch was involved. Whatever. Yeah, things move fast sometimes because you can tell if it works because there's no line there, right? People have to vote with their time, right? You vote with your feet. Are you in line? And so when people are like, oh, don't change that. Yeah, but nobody went to that ride for the last 3 years. It's got to go. I mean, I was sad when a bunch of things happened, but, when, like, I love the Country Bears. I have 4 daughters. I got 2 more in the house, 2 still in the house, 18 and 15. And when my 18-year-old, she must have been 17 at the time. Maybe she was even 16 at the time. I'm sitting next to her. I'm having a ball. I'm watching Country Bears. I look over at her and she's like, Dad, get me out of here. That's the most boring thing ever. And it makes me sad for a couple of reasons, but mostly it'll probably go away. People don't go to it anymore. Do you have success talking about, what do you have more success with in your coverage? Talking about stuff that's coming. Hey, there's a new Star Wars hotel coming. Hey, Captain America and Spider-Man are going to fight right in front of you, or talking about the nostalgia stuff, or is it a little bit of both? I'd love to hear that.
Well, it's a couple of different audiences if you're talking about the print magazine or you're talking about the website. With a print magazine, I think people like the nostalgia. They like, reading full depth stories about things that have already opened or whether it's that or old stories about here's what, how the Tower of Terror was conceived or something like that. But when it comes to website, people love the rumors. That's no matter what. And we try to, we definitely don't just come up with rumors to have an article to write about. We try to base everything in some kind of fact or strong rumors or we heard from this person. But no matter what the rumor is, it shoots up in the ratings as far as.
I mean, I'm guilty. I like to know before, there's a couple websites out there, and I go to them on a regular basis. And there's one in particular, I'm not going to mention it, but they're clearly just they're clickbaiting stuff. But then there's other things that I really want to know, and I've been sucked into it. Don't you take away my all of it. But I also want to hear about. Tell me about Star Wars. Tell me about Spider-Man. Is he going to fall on my head? All those things. So that whole line, we're all guilty of it. I want to know before everybody, but I love it when I hear, okay, they dropped a patent. And I love that Disney kind of code words them. To me, it makes it more fun. Back in the day when Walt was the Orlando project, I don't even remember what they called it, but it didn't say, hey, Walt Disney World's coming to Orlando, right? I like that stuff. I bet in your position, it's hard to know what to print or to post a video about or whatever. But I bet it's a lot of fun too. Like, I want to know stuff. Well, you're doing it as part of your job, so you're going to know more than I do, sooner than I do. Is that still awesome? Do you still get a kick out of that?
Yeah, I mean that part of it is fun and exciting, but it's also can be the most stressful. So it's like, oh my gosh, we just heard this happen. We got to get this out here before everybody else reports it. We got to be the first. One of the first to report it. And like I say, we also want to be factual. So sometimes it gets a little stressful. It's like, oh, so-and-so already reported it. Let's report it. Well, we got to wait till Disney gets back to us. And
a little bit of a competition race there. I kind of love that too.
Yeah.
I'm a very competitive guy, so I would like that a lot. That's cool. That's very cool. All right, I'm going to talk about my sponsor one more time, then I'm going to ask you how you want to end up and what you want them to know about it, about you, frankly. But first, let's get to my sponsor. It's Bill Guerrero. Magic of the Mouse podcast, where each week your hosts, Bill Guerrero Sr. and Bill Guerrero Jr., bring you the latest Disney news, and they will be discussing everything Disney to get you ready for your next Disney vacation. New episodes drop every Wednesday morning on all major podcast apps, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, iHeartRadio, and Google. You can connect with Magic of the Mouse on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just do a search for Magic of the Mouse. Also go check out Magic of the Mouse TV channel on YouTube. It's growing like crazy for the past couple of weeks. That makes me very happy. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, be notified when they post and are in the parks, which I hope they are in a week and a half when I'm there. But that's a little me thing. And then, you know what we need to do? Let's drop the link to Attractions Magazine again. Somebody, I think it was Jeff, or it doesn't matter who it was. Here is a link to Attractions Magazine's YouTube channel. They, he, them, all of the things. Matt, what your editor, your YouTube person, your owner? What is your title? What do you call yourself?
I call myself editor and publisher. I try personally to stay behind the scenes most of the time. You won't see me on our show every week. You'll see.
I was going to ask you about that. That's a good segue.
You'll see my son and Jesse, our co-host, and then Banks is out in the field reporting, and we have a great team, and we all work together to try to put together everything we do.
I love that. Again, I run a nonprofit. It's totally different worlds, but having a good team, having people you care about, sometimes even family. I have family on my team, and there's challenges to that. And obviously, that's a whole show.
Yeah.
But it's a blessing. For me, it's a blessing. I love it. I get to work with my favorite people, and we do things we love. And I sense that's how you feel. So, I mean, you love what you do. I mean, we've been talking for about 50 minutes, and you still love it, right? I'm not reading that, am I?
Yeah, it's not just a business. I mean, they always say do what you love, so that's why I'm doing this, and we keep doing it, and it continues to be fun.
Jeff asked, there's a good question. How much is your magazine? If they want to subscribe,
we have various levels. We have our basic subscriptions.
You've got the print and the E, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Every subscription you get both. You'll get the digital and the print. It's $31.95 for the basic subscription. That's 4 issues a year, and then you can buy single issues. We also have a club subscription. You get access to exclusive podcast episodes that we do, and some exclusive stories that are just for subscribers if you do our club. And we have a VIP level, which you get all that, but you also get a box of stuff stuff that we get at the media events. We'll go to a media event and they'll hand us a bag of stuff, and there'll be some Mickey ears and a notepad that has the name of the attraction on it or whatnot. So we've gathered all that over the years, so we send that out to our VIP subscribers.
That's very cool. I mean, shoot, you might get me for that. That's pretty cool. I like stuff. It's funny. I collect more than my fair share of stuff, but that's the kind of thing I like. I like stuff that you can't get. Like I bought so dumb. I bought a button for the Aladdin movie, and it's got Genie on it, but it was for staff, or I'm sorry, it was for cast members who worked on the movie because I don't know what it did. Whatever it did, it was like a big deal, and it's like 20 years old, and that's the kind of stuff I like. So if you like me, people, you want to check out their VIP offering. We're 3 minutes away from the end of the hour, so I want to leave it to you. What, Matt, did I not ask you that I should have, that you want them to know, or anything that hey, maybe you got a secret you want to share with the peeps? What do you want them to know?
I can't think of any secrets off the hand, but no, just check us out. If you can't afford the magazine, check out our YouTube channel, our social media. Subscribe to our email newsletter. If you go to our website, you'll see a pop-up come up for subscribing to the newsletter. It comes out every weekday, and it's full of all the latest stories of the day. And there's a copy of our latest issue.
Ooh, Rise, yeah.
Rise, yep.
That was nice. I had that on my list about your covers. That's cool. See, that's cool.
So we're working on our next preview for our next issue. We'll have the cover story is either going to be Mickey's Runaway Railway, but it'll probably be that, or the new parade that's coming to Disneyland. We're covering both of those in that next issue, and that should be out towards the end next month.
The stuff I've read about the Mickey train ride sounds next level. Sounds.
Yeah, I got high hopes.
Kitty ride. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, I got high hopes for it. So let's hope we're right.
You want to watch me make everybody mad in the chat? The movie ride was boring. I said it out loud. Sorry, people. All right. Well, I've had a blast. I told you it would go fast. I always tell people it goes fast. I hope you had a good time, Matt. I'm honored to have you on the show. I said it before. I'll say it again. You're one of my first and still my favorite YouTube channels.
Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. Appreciate what you do and spend an hour with me and my friends here. So, guys, one more time, get over there. You know what? He talked about subscriptions and all that. We got a one free, get another one free deal today. You sign up for YouTube, you subscribe to this channel for free today, and you can also sign up to my sponsor, who's up in the corner just above. Oh, I can't point on him. Trust me, Magic the Mouth Podcast. Subscribe to their channels. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I tried to point it to you, but it wouldn't work. But subscribe. It's free, and you get the great content. And then, you love it enough to go subscribe. I know he would love that. Matt, thank you. Thank you. Mods, thank you. Everybody who was in chat, thank you. Super chatters, thank you. Everybody, thank you. It's a thank you fest tonight. I guess we'll end on that. Please, Matt, don't leave yet. I'll say goodbye to you afterwards. But everybody in chat, we're all done for the night. I appreciate you so much. Just thank you. Thanks for spending a little bit on Sunday night. I know there's some TV show on about the movies, and I'm glad you're here. It makes my day. Thanks. Mods, thanks. Everybody, thanks. In 20 minutes, 25, half hour, Creator Talk. My buddy Rob from TubeBuddy, my co-host Lynn, the Lynn Project in chat. We're going to have a good time. If you're creating a YouTube channel and you want to learn from the TubeBuddy peeps, one of them is going to be in my chat. Not in my chat, on the show, maybe in my chat too. It's going to be a good time. My mouth is not working. I'm going to need a new gig. Thanks so much. Have a great week, everybody. Get over to Matt's.
Thanks, Mike.
Subscribe.
Appreciate it.
No, thank you, buddy. All right, that's all for now. Bye, guys.